Night listener, tonight we enter the shadows. The city outside your window is drowning in wet neon. Streetlights blink like dying eyes, casting reflections across the rain-slick pavement. Somewhere, a door creaks. Somewhere, a match strikes. You don't know if the echoing footsteps belong to a stranger or if they've been yours all along. They say once you see a killer's eyes, you never forget them. You remember his. And the worst part, he didn't blink. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Let me know where you're listening from. And tell me, are you chasing the truth, the thrill, or just the justice? Now lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. The first time you saw him, he didn't look dangerous. He looked relieved. The trial was a circus, cameras flashing, gavel pounding, reporters hungry for something clean-cut, someone obvious, and there he was, Martin Hale, quiet, compliant, thin wrists in soft cuffs. He confessed without a fight, didn't ask for a lawyer, didn't even ask for water. The press called it a victory, but something didn't sit right. Because in that last moment before the court officers took him away, he looked straight at you, not the judge, not the crowd, you, and said, "We're the same, you and me. Only difference, I stopped lying." That sentence followed you into your apartment, into your dreams, into your shower, where the water ran cold even when the heater was on. You play it back now, voice echoing in your skull like a scratched vinyl. We're the same. I stopped lying. Why would a killer say that? Why would he look relieved? You try to bury the question like the case filed. Zipped. Done. But guilt has a funny texture. It clings like wet clothes. It soaks into your bones. Tonight, it comes back when you're flipping through old crime scene files, the kind you usually avoid when the scotch hits. You reach the final photo, and then you see it. The eyes, not his, the victim's, glassy, open, but not empty. Because in the reflection of her pupils, if you zoom in just right, there's a figure behind her. And it isn't Martin Hale. It's someone taller, wearing a coat you recognize, yours. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You stared at the screen too long enough for it to go black and show your reflection instead. You looked tired, hunted, your face a cracked mirror of who you were when this case started. The light flickers above your desk, once, twice. A coincidence? Maybe. But then your phone buzzes. Unknown number. You open the text. You missed it. You always miss it. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. And you remember something else now. Hale didn't confess to how he did it. He only confessed to stopping it. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You locked the photo in an encrypted file. But that reflection, your coat, your frame stays trapped in your head. You hear a noise outside, keys jangling, a door opening. Only your door is already locked. You don't move at first. You just listen. Heart thudding, clock ticking too loudly from the wall. The sound outside your door doesn't repeat. No footsteps, no voice, just a silence that drapes over your apartment like a wet tarp. You rise slowly, like someone trying not to be caught awake in their own nightmare, and walk to the peephole. No one there, but your neighbor's door across the hall, the one with the peeling red paint and the faint scent of menthol cigarettes is slightly ajar. You've lived here for years, and she never leaves it open. You don't trust the quiet. You never have. You knew. but pretended you didn't. Back at your desk, the screen's still dark. You move the mouse and the image returns those eyes, that coat, that reflection that shouldn't exist. You tell yourself it could have been anyone. Maybe she saw someone else. A detective? A shadow? But not you. You check the timestamp again. You were on site hours later. Right. You pick up the case notes, flip pages. Something's off. The official report says the body was discovered at 4:12 a.m. by a patrol unit doing rounds. But the coroner's estimate of time of death is 200 a.m. sharp. And there's one thing you hadn't noticed before. A note scribbled in your own handwriting across the top margin. Check back entrance. Locked. Window closed. You don't remember writing that. You don't remember being there that early. But the ink doesn't lie, and your pen still bleeds the same ink. Everyone lies, especially the ones who sign things. The glove is still in your evidence box. You pull it out, black leather, right hand, no tag, supposedly hers, supposedly found under the fire escape, near the broken glass, but there's no cut on the glove, no tear, just a faint smear of something near the wrist, dark brown. Could be dried blood, could be coffee. You sniff it. Definitely blood. You grab a UV light. There, just below the cuff, in almost invisible ink, two initials, M.H. Martin Hale. Except that glove was logged 2 hours before Hale was even arrested. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You stare at your own handwriting in the evidence logbook, and now you can't tell if you're the one who lied, or if someone lied for you. You remember the trial, the way Hale sat so still, never defending himself, never blinking. You're not going to stop it, he said, right before sentencing. Just bury it deeper. And he looked at you when he said it. You thought it was nonsense, the rambling of a guilty man. But now you're not sure. The clock ticks again. You check your front door. Still locked. But your phone buzzes. Another message. No number. You kept the glove. Why? You dropped the phone. Because now you remember what the detective said when he handed it to you. Keep this out of the press. We don't want copycats. That detective is dead now. Stroke. They said no autopsy. Closed casket. What if you've been the suspect all along? You sit down. The air feels heavy, like something is watching you. You stare at the glove. A key slips from inside. It clinks on the floor. You don't breathe. You never locked a key. You pick it up, brass, old, with a red plastic tab on the end. The number etched into it, 214B. The same number as the unit above yours. Vacant for months. The management company said it was under renovation. You never heard any construction. You walk to the door. Open it. The hallway is empty again. But you hear something. Not footsteps. Breathing. From above. And your phone buzzes once more. If you go up there, you won't come back the same. You take the stairs. The elevator creaks too loud and always smells like mildew and regret. Besides, it's not far, just one floor up. Each step feels like an accusation. Carpet muted underfoot, but the air is electric, like the hallway knows you're not supposed to be here. Second floor. The lights flicker once. You pause. You shouldn't, but you do. The door to 214B is shut, but the key in your pocket, it's warm, not just from your hand. Something else, as if it's been waiting to be used. You insert it into the lock. It turns too easily. The door creaks open. The apartment is dark, not abandoned, just wrong. It smells faintly of mold and something metallic. Blood has that smell, too. You step inside, hand on the wall, searching for a switch. Your fingers brush something, a wire, then tape. You pull your hand back fast. A soft click behind you. The door shuts on its own, and the silence is louder than anything. You reach into your jacket, pull out your flashlight. The beam slices through the darkness like a lie exposed. Dust hangs like breath. The wallpaper's peeling, yellowed and damp, and on the far wall, taped to the cracked mirror, you see it. A photograph. You walk toward it slowly, every instinct telling you to stop. It's not just a photo. It's evidence. A woman, face turned slightly away, but unmistakable. Sasha Ward, the one who testified that she saw Hale at the crime scene. The one who trembled on the stand. Voice cracking. Except in this photo, she's with you, smiling. You're holding her hand. There's a date in the corner. 2 months before the murder. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You hear a creak behind you. Turn slowly. No one's there. Just your reflection in the cracked mirror. And behind your reflection, a coat rack. No coats, except one. Long, gray, wool. The same one. One from the surveillance footage. You reach out and touch it. The fabric is damp, cold. There's something in the pocket. You pull it out. A matchbook from a bar across town. The velvet knife. You've never been there. But the matchbook has your initials on it, scribbled in a rushed hand. D.H. Austin for certain names. You sit on the edge of the dusty couch. What if this isn't about Hale at all? What if it never was? Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You pull your phone from your pocket. Signal's dead. Of course it is. You try the door again. Locked. Deadbolt won't budge. And then you hear it. The answering machine. Old. Analog. You didn't even see it when you walked in. It clicks on. A voice plays. Yours. I know what she saw. I know what I did. If anyone hears this, it's too late. You don't remember recording that. And you definitely don't remember what came next. But it's not your voice anymore. It's hers. Sasha. I warned you, but you couldn't leave it alone. Now they'll know. Now he'll know. The tape whirs, rewinds, and stops with a hard mechanical snap. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You go to the window, frosted, covered in newspaper clippings from months ago, every one of them about you. Decorated officer, lead detective, local hero, except someone's written over the articles in red ink. Liar. He knows you saw too much. You stumble back, heart pounding. A photograph falls from the mirror. It lands face up. Same woman. Different man beside her. It's not Hale. It's you. And you're holding a lighter. Flames dancing behind you. You don't remember that night, but you do now. The scream, the smoke, the reason you buried the motive. Because it wasn't his. It was yours. What if you've been the suspect all along? The lock on the door clicks open. Not by you, by someone else. And outside, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, approaching. You freeze. Breath tight in your chest. The footsteps beyond the door aren't hurrying. They're measured, familiar, like someone who's done this before. You don't call out. Whoever's on the other side doesn't need an invitation. The coat still hanging where you found it smells of fire and cologne, the kind your partner Hale used to wear before he switched to something subtler. You remember joking about it once. He said, a man's scent should linger just long enough to be remembered and just short enough not to be followed. You never forgot that line. You snatch the coat from the hook and ball it in your arms. Something clinks metal. You dig into the other pocket and pull out a key. Brass, engraved. Room 714. You don't recognize the hotel name etched into it, the Asterian. The footsteps stop, silence. Again, thick as velvet. Then a knock, soft, too soft for a stranger. It's coded, intimate. You grip the key like it's a weapon. The door doesn't open. Not yet. But whoever is outside knows you're in here. There's no good way out. You scan the apartment again and find the back door, the emergency exit partially concealed by a hanging tapestry. You shoulder through it, into the stairwell, cold, concrete, and damp. The walls drip with something you pray is water. Every footstep you take echoes, but you don't know if it's yours or theirs anymore. You reach the bottom floor, burst out into an alley. Night claws at you. Neon signs blink in erratic patterns. A cat hisses and darts into a trash bin. You don't care. You keep moving. You're not running. Not yet. You head toward the street, and that's when you see it. A cab waiting at the corner. Door open. Engine idling. No driver in sight. You hesitate. Of course you do. But the cab has something no other escape route does. A clue. On the dashboard, in plain view, an envelope. Your name on it. Block letters. Underlined. You slide into the back seat. Hand trembling as you pick up the envelope. Inside, three things. A photograph of a woman. Her face half shadowed. Standing beside a man whose features have been scratched out. A torn page from your old notebook, your handwriting. She saw the motive. She won't stay quiet forever. A matchbook. Again, the velvet knife. But this time, a number scrawled inside number 52 and a time 11:38 p.m. It's 11:12 p.m. You tell yourself you're going for answers. You tell yourself it's not a trap, but your gut says otherwise. Because this isn't just a breadcrumb trail. It's a confession, written in reverse. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The cab screen lights up an address already typed in 52 Locke Avenue. You tell the cab to go. It obeys. The city passes by in distorted fragments, people walking under umbrellas, neon reflected in puddles, buildings leaning like they're listening in. And then you see it. The velvet knife, tucked between a pawn shop and a boarded-up laundromat. Its sign flickers red, the kind of place that smells like smoke and secrets. You step inside. Dim lights, heavy velvet curtains, jazz murmurs in the background. There are maybe 6 people here. All of them turn to look at you, just for a moment, then back to their drinks. Except one. At the bar, a woman in a green coat. She's holding a photograph of you. You approach slowly, like walking into a dream you've had too many times. She doesn't flinch. She expected you. You ask, "What's this?" She slides the photo across the bar. On the back, it's labeled pre-fire. Before you rewrote the truth. You stare at it. It's you and Hale, and someone else. Someone who shouldn't be there. A child. No, not a child. A teenager. Same sharp eyes. Same dimples. Someone who looks exactly like you. She speaks. Finally. You buried the motive, because it would have burned everything. The bartender slides you a drink without asking. A glove sits next to it. A single black glove. You reach for it. It's warm. What if you've been the suspect all along? The glove fits too well, like a memory slipping over your skin, tight and intimate. You don't remember ever wearing it, but your hand remembers. The tension in your knuckles, the way your fingers curl slightly as though trying to recall something lost in the folds of time. The woman in the green coat watches you. Her lips part like she's about to say something profound, but she doesn't. She just sips her drink, a gin fizz, from the look of it, and lets the silence stretch, tense and humming. You sit down beside her. You don't ask her name, you ask the real question. Who was the kid? She doesn't look surprised, not even a flicker of doubt. You tell me, she says. You knew him. You shake your head. I never saw him before in my life. She taps the photograph with one long red fingernail. He thought otherwise. He kept that photo in his wallet, said his father didn't want him. You don't answer, because your pulse is already screaming. There's something wrong here. You look closer at the photo, at the crooked tie around your neck, the bruise half hidden by your collar, the background brick walls, narrow alley, a rusted dumpster, a cigarette burns on the ledge behind you, and the shadow behind the teen. It isn't Hale's, it's yours. The bartender switches the music. Something older now, a vinyl crackle, a piano piece that sounds almost like a lullaby, if the lullaby came with a warning. The woman leans in. You smell lavender and steel. He came looking for you 3 days before the first murder. Told me he just wanted to talk. Then he vanished. You close your eyes. 3 days before the first murder, your first mistake. You remember the press conference. You remember the way you smiled into cameras, already knowing the case had too many holes. You remember the judge's praise, the DA's handshake, the weight of congratulations you didn't deserve. You remembered everything except who to be afraid of. You ask, what did he say? She lifts her glass again. He said someone stole his story, rewrote it, cleaned it. He said the truth had teeth, and yours were the only ones that ever bit. The glove burns against your palm now. You slip it off and stuff it into your coat pocket, along with the photograph, the matchbook, the torn note, symbols of a life you told yourself didn't exist. Where did he go after he left here, you ask? She shrugs. He said he had to confront someone, said the lie couldn't live another day. He seemed scared, but also ready. You stand. You've got nowhere else to run, no safe places left. She stops you with a hand on your arm. There's more, she says. Look under the seat in that cab, the one that brought you here. He left something there, for you. You don't thank her. There's no gratitude left in you. Outside, the night exhales, and your breath fogs in the air like a ghost. You find the cab still parked across the street. Same cabbie, but something in his eyes looks duller now, like he's part of the set. You climb in, reach under the back seat, and your fingers close around something hard and plastic. A tape recorder. You press play. His voice, clear, young, shaking. If you're hearing this, I guess you finally stopped lying. You can't outrun what you buried. I'm not sorry for what I did, because I had to know why. I had to know why you looked me in the eye and said there was no room for me in your life. I had to know why the case mattered more than the person behind it. Pause. Breath. A stifled sob. I know what you did to her, to my mother. You made it look clean, but I was there. I saw, and I'm going to make sure someone else sees too. The truth doesn't sleep, and it doesn't forget. The tape clicks off. You sit there, stunned. As rain begins to fall, fat drops slapping the windshield like judgment. The cabbie doesn't move. You glance up and see something taped to the rearview mirror. A photograph of the woman in the green coat. Only this time, she's not in a bar. She's lying on the floor, eyes open, glove missing, and the timestamp tonight. Exactly 1 hour from now. You glance at your watch. 45 minutes left. Ticking. A ticking clock. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. What if you've been the suspect all along? You leave the cab, but the cab doesn't leave you. Its headlights stay on, low beams cutting across the wet pavement, framing your silhouette like a ghost who forgot to vanish. You don't look back, not yet. You know there's a reason it hasn't driven off, but you're not ready to know it, not yet. The sidewalk glistens with oil and puddled secrets, the kind of night where the city whispers instead of roars. You walk past shuttered shops and crooked street lamps, past windows that flicker blue with TV static and lives you'll never live. You can't stop hearing his voice. That boy. Know your son. The word makes your throat tighten, not from emotion, from guilt, from disbelief, because you swore there was no one left, that you'd buried every version of your past in court files and whiskey. But here he is, rewinding the lies like tape, and you're not just exposed, you're the one holding the knife. The apartment you reach is hers, the woman in the green coat. Her name was Claudia. You remember now. Used to be a nurse, the kind who always knew when someone was pretending pain. You buzz her room. No answer. You buzz again. Still nothing. You try the door. It's unlocked. Of course it is. Inside, the building smells like heat and forgotten dinners. You take the stairs. Each one creaks with disapproval. You pause at the fourth floor. The hall is long, dim. Someone's left a pair of child's shoes outside their door, bright red, cartoonish, a warning in disguise. You reach her apartment, and the door's already open, just slightly, like it's waiting. You don't knock, you enter. The light is on in the kitchen. The kettle on the stove whistles quietly, like a dying scream, too polite to interrupt the silence. She's on the floor, eyes wide, just like the photo, but she's breathing, barely. You rush to her, drop to your knees, press 2 fingers to her neck, pulse faint, but there, her lips move. A whisper, you lean closer. What? He said. She gasps. He said I had to. Tell the truth. You shake her. Who she tries to answer, but her eyes roll back. She goes limp. You call it in. Not the cops, you're not ready for that. You call an ambulance. Then you check her hand. No glove. It's gone. Your pocket burns. You pull out your glove. Still there. But was it ever yours? You open the kitchen drawer, and there it is. A matching glove. 2 of them now. One too many. One was planted. The one in your pocket. You set it down next to the other and realize they're not the same size. One is bigger, yours. The other smaller, feminine. Neither has blood, but one has fibers, blue fibers, from a school uniform, or a couch, or a body bag. You hear a noise behind you. You spin. Nothing, but the front door is closed now. You left it open, and then you see it on the inside of the door. Another photograph, taped at eye level. You, Claudia, and someone behind you. The kid, your kid, but he's older in this one. Late teens, maybe 20. And he's holding something, a book. Its title scratched out in red pen, like censorship turned personal. You stare at it for too long, trying to understand what matters. Then you hear something drop from the bedroom. You move slow, like prey that suspects the hunter is already in the room. You push open the door, and the room is empty. Neat, too neat. On the bed, a single item, a black notebook. You recognize the handwriting on the cover. It's yours, but you never wrote it. You open it. First page. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Second page. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Third page. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You grip the edges. How the hell does he know those phrases? Those are yours. Not just words you've said, words you've thought, alone, in the dark, to yourself. You scan to the last page. A date, tomorrow, a time, 3:15 p.m. A location, the courthouse. Beneath it, a sentence. The case was closed. But I'm going to scream. You close the book. The scream isn't coming. It's already here. And it sounds exactly like justice clawing its way out of a sealed file. You don't sleep. Not because you're afraid. Because you're remembering. You sit in Claudia's living room, watching the blue pulse of ambulance lights vanish into the street. She's stable now. They said she mumbled something before passing out again, but not enough for a report. You didn't correct them. Some truths only matter when they're convenient. The black notebook sits on the table, next to your coffee, untouched. It taunts you, a relic of a life you didn't know you left behind. You should throw it away, burn it, pretend it never surfaced. But that would be smart, and you don't get to be smart anymore. You turn to the last page again. The case was closed. But I'm going to scream. Whoever wrote that isn't bluffing. They're daring you to watch, and you're going to, because you're not sure you have a choice. You head back to your apartment before dawn. Same socks, same shirt, same thoughts. They stick to your skin like sweat that memory won't wash off. The elevator is busted, so you take the stairs. Every floor feels heavier than the last. Outside your door, an envelope, unmarked. You don't touch it. Not yet. First, you check the locks. All three intact. Still, you draw your weapon before you open the door. Inside empty. But something's changed. The air, the smell, the subtle displacement of a chair that's never moved before. You know what a searched room feels like. This is it. You close the door, lock it again, then finally open the envelope. Inside a single newspaper clipping, bold, yellowed at the edges. The headline reads, "Boy survives fire, family presumed dead." You scan the article. The name jumps out at you. Your name. And then another one. Ronan. You sit down. Hard. That name, it was never officially released. Not to the press. Not to the file. You were careful. The kind of careful that required falsified records and late-night deals with data erasers. There's no way anyone should know it. Except maybe one person. The boy in the photo. The boy holding a redacted book. You flip the clipping over. On the back, handwritten, "I never forgot. I just stopped calling you Dad." The pen stroke is angry, deep, etched into the page like a scar. You slump against the wall. There's a chill running through your spine, and it's not from the weather. It's the kind of cold that comes when time rewinds without asking permission. You remember the fire, the deal, the silence. You weren't supposed to live. Neither was he. But you did. And he did. And the difference is, you stopped looking. Now he started watching. You light a cigarette you don't remember wanting. The flame flickers like nerves, like guilt with a heartbeat. You inhale. Let the smoke fog your logic. Then you open the notebook again. The pages have shifted. Page 7 now has something new. A photograph, paper-clipped. It's from a security camera, dated 3 days ago. It shows you entering a building. You don't recognize it. But in the bottom corner, someone else, blurry, hooded, watching. Ronan. You flip to the next page. It's a floor plan. Your apartment. Labeled, drawn in pen. Every drawer, cabinet, weak point mapped. You turn the page. One sentence: "I don't want to hurt you. I want you to hurt yourself." Your hands shake, but not from fear. from understanding. This isn't revenge, it's a performance. And you're the audience. You stand, throw on your coat, grab the clipping, the notebook, the envelope. You lock the door, triple check it, and then you leave. Where to the courthouse? Because 3:15 isn't a warning, it's a curtain time. And you're late for your own trial. You're at the courthouse steps before your thoughts can catch up to your body. The sky hasn't decided what it wants to be, sunrise or storm. You hope for storm. At least it's honest. Inside Bund, the air's different. Still smells like processed justice and stale coffee. But there's something off. The way the security guard glances at you. Not recognition, not suspicion, pity. Like he knows something you don't. You flash your ID out of reflex. Detective, he nods, even though you're not sure that's true anymore. You walk the corridors, past the courtroom where you lied under oath, past the bench where Claudia collapsed, past the break room where they all gossiped about the case that made your career and buried someone else's life. Every footstep sounds louder here, like the floor is tattling. You head to records. The door's unlocked. No one's inside, except a box on your old desk. You haven't had an office here in years. And yet, there it is, a banker's box, one of those beige, bland tombs where old evidence goes to rot. But this one's different. No case number, no seal, no label, just one word scrawled in black ink across the top. Contradiction. You lift the lid slowly. Inside a stack of manila folders. No tabs, just thick, heavy files filled with photocopies and printed reports. Your reports, only altered, redacted differently. Dates mismatched, signatures forged. But not by you of you. You rifle through the first one. It's the Carter case, the one that proved your theory on Ronan's disappearance. A clean timeline, unquestioned narrative. Except here, the timestamps are altered, witness statements rewritten. In one, you see, the boy ran east, toward the fence. He looked back once, terrified, not lost. You never wrote that, but it's in your file, on your signature. Forgery. Or did someone uncover what you chose to forget? The second folder holds a photograph. Same boy, same fire, but zoomed out. You see the frame of the burning house, a body charred just outside the window, adult-sized, and the boy standing, not crying, just watching, expressionless, almost calm. Behind him, someone else, blurred, tall, hooded, familiar. You freeze. That outline, that stance, it looks like you, but it can't be, can it? What if your memory was edited? What if you chose to let it be? You dig deeper. Beneath the photos and files is a VHS tape, labeled Playback 3:15. You don't need a TV. You know what it says. You've heard it already. In your head, in Claudia's screams, in your own insomnia. The box is a coffin, and the truth is scratching inside it. You slam the lid shut, but the sound echoes. Behind you, a cough. You turn fast. A man in a courthouse janitor uniform stands in the doorway. You've never seen him before, but he looks like he's seen you. He nods at the box. You get the warning. What you ask? Voice dry. He shrugs. Most don't. They keep going until it's too late. What do you mean? He leans on the doorframe, eyes heavy. You ever wonder why the boy survived? Detective, you stiffen. He nods toward the hallway. Because you were meant to watch the ending. And then he walks away. You follow. But when you round the corner, he's gone. Just the buzzing exit sign blinking like a lie. You return to the box. Remove the VHS. You find a dusty player in the evidence room. Hook it to an old monitor. The tape flickers, static. Then the screen resolves a living room. Yours, from today. You sitting, holding the envelope, watching. Then, you look up, directly into the lens, directly at you. The tape cuts, screen black. Then 4 words appear in grainy typewriter font. I forgave you first. You reel back, and then your phone vibrates. Blocked number. You answer. No words, just breathing. Then a voice, low, familiar. It's not about guilt. It's about how long you let it rot. Click. You stare at the monitor. You finally understand. He didn't want to hurt you. He wanted to remind you of what, of why you walked away, of who you used to be, and maybe of what you still are. The box behind you rustles. You turn, but nothing's there. Just your reflection in the monitor screen. And behind it, written in faint marker, he screamed last. Will you? You sleep with the lights on that night. Correction. You don't sleep. You exist in the spaces between seconds, counting each tick of the wall clock like it's a warning. Outside, the street lamp flickers in a pattern that doesn't feel random. Inside, the box sits on your kitchen table like a coiled trap. You haven't touched it since the courthouse. You can't. Not yet. But it's calling. They all call. Eventually, you pour another cup of coffee, hands shaking enough to splash some on the counter. You ignore it. The stain blooms like blood on white porcelain. You stare too long. The phone rings. Blocked again. You answer. Static. Then the click. No words this time. Just a sound. Scraping. Like something being dragged across concrete. It goes on for 20 seconds. Then silence. Then 3 days. Then the call ends. You don't know if that's a deadline or a countdown. Either way, it's too close. You grab your jacket and go. The city hasn't changed, but your eyes have. Every passerby might be watching. Every shadow might be echoing you. You retrace your steps from the old case, Ronan's disappearance, the one that made your name and buried your doubts. You find yourself on Harper Street, where the boy vanished. Except he didn't vanish. Did he? He ran. Someone let him. You stand outside the rusted gate of the old tenor house, condemned, boarded up, except the boards on the side window are loose now. Someone's been here recently. You step through. Inside, the air is stale with mold and memory. There's graffiti on the walls, angry slashes of red and black. One symbol repeats, an open eye, painted over and over, in the corners, on the ceilings, even inside the fireplace. Watching, you know it. You've seen it before. It was in the Carter files, marginalia from a witness sketch. A doodle you thought meant nothing. You kneel beside the hearth. A brick is loose. You pry it free. Inside, wrapped in plastic, a charred glove, child-sized, the same kind the boy wore in the surveillance footage. Only this one. It's not burned all the way. The fingers are cut, deliberately, as if someone needed to remove something. You pull it out. There's something stuffed inside. A strip of paper, brittle with time. You unfold it slowly, scrawled in frantic pen. He wanted to stay lost. You made him remember. The glove drops from your hand like it burns, because you remember now, not the crime, but the moment before it, when you looked into that boy's eyes and saw yourself, when you told him, we don't talk about this, ever. You thought it was to protect him, but maybe it was to protect you. You step backward. Your foot hits something. A camera. Small. Modern. Active. A red light blinking. It's been recording. Someone knew you'd come. Someone is watching. And then the sound. Thunk. Behind you, the front door slamming shut. You spin, rush to it, locked. You yank hard. Nothing. Then, a voice behind you. Same voice from the phone. But now, it's real. In the room. Funny thing about justice, he says. It doesn't die when the case closes. It festers. You don't turn around. You speak to the wall, to the peeling wallpaper and the lies beneath it. Why now? Because you forgot too well, and I needed you to remember. You finally turn and see him. Not who you expect, not an old enemy, not a ghost. Just a man, early 40s, weathered. He looks like you if you'd chosen vengeance over silence. He tosses something toward you. You catch it without thinking. A photograph. You, from 12 years ago, holding the boy, smiling, but in the background, that same man, watching. You'd never noticed before. I was there, he says, and now you're going to explain why you lied. To who you ask. He smiles, slow and sad, to me, and then he locks the second bolt, the one on the inside. This isn't a house, it's a confession booth, and you're not the priest, you're the penance. What if I don't remember it all, you ask? You will, he says. By the end of tonight, you look down. The photograph has changed in your hands. It's not faded anymore. It's bleeding. The ink smears in your fingers. You stare at the man across from you and realize this isn't revenge. It's a reconstruction. He doesn't want you to pay. He wants you to rebuild the crime together and then maybe destroy it. But that means saying it, all of it, even the part you promised yourself you never would. The room closes in like a tightening grip. You sit on the floor. He stays by the door. Neither of you speak at first. The silence is not empty. It screams. You reach for the photo again, but it's gone, replaced with something else, a folded legal pad page. One word scrawled across the top in bold red trial. Your chest tightens. He watches you, not with malice, with calculation. I've read the court transcripts. He says, you spoke well, but not truthfully. You rub your eyes. The air in the house feels too still, staged. You think I lied under oath? He laughs. Not think. No. You buried the question that mattered most. The why. A pause. The motive. You flinch at the word, because it's the one thing the jury never had. The evidence enough. The timeline. Neat. But the motive that was sealed behind smirks, sealed files, and an affidavit with your initials. You stand. Let's get this over with. You say. He tosses you a recorder, presses play on his own. You sit again, because this isn't an interrogation. It's a trial with no judge. You begin. It was a runaway case. That's how it started. Ronan left home after his stepfather, after things got bad. Define bad. The man interrupts. You look up. You already know. Say it anyway. You swallow. He was being abused. There. You happy? He nods. Keep going. You do. You tell the story again, but not the way the public heard it. This version starts at the safe house, where you found Ronan, where he recognized you, not from a lineup, from a photo he pulled from his pocket. A childhood shot of your sister, only she died when you were a teenager, and the man beside her in the photo, Ronan's stepfather. The timelines didn't line up. They couldn't. Unless your sister didn't die. She disappeared, and he found her, and maybe. You shake your head. No one would have believed it. It was too twisted. The man steps forward now. Closer. You're wrong. People wanted to believe it, but you made it too clean. You sanitized the monster. You clench your fists. I protected the kid. He raises an eyebrow. by hiding what connected you. He walks over to the fireplace, pulls something from inside the soot. A key, flat, brass, with a strip of blue tape on the edge, your handwriting still smudged on it. Unit 305, storage. You whisper it aloud without realizing. Was this yours? He asks. You nod, because you remember now. You didn't destroy everything. You locked some of it away. Not because you were afraid of exposure, because you weren't ready to know it all. You take the key from his outstretched hand. Your fingers brush. A shiver runs through you both. What's in the locker? He asks. You breathe deep. Whatever I refuse to let myself remember. A long silence stretches between you. Then, he says, we'll go tomorrow. But first, he kneels beside you, opens his backpack, takes out a tape recorder, the old kind, and hits rewind. It whirs, then stops, then plays. A voice, Ronan's, static, cracked but clear. I never meant to hurt anyone. I just needed to get away. From him, from her, from them. He promised me safety, but he lied. Then silence, then your own voice, barely a whisper. Tell me what you saw. Ronan again, that she wasn't dead, that she didn't forget me, but he made her forget everything. He said she wasn't his. He said the tape ends. You look at the man across from you and realize he wasn't Ronan's father. He wasn't even part of the case. He was Ronan's brother, the older one, the one who vanished first, the one no one looked for because he was labeled unstable, a runaway, just like Ronan. That's why he knew everything. That's why he's making you remember. He doesn't want revenge. He wants accountability. You sit in the shadows together. The city buzzes outside, unaware. But in here, the past is unfolding like a slow, brutal flower. You whisper more to yourself than to him. You knew, but pretended you didn't. And he answers without looking at you. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. A siren screams in the distance, but it's too late for warnings, because now you remember the rest. And tomorrow, the lock opens, whatever's inside that storage unit. It's not evidence, it's proof of the motive, the real one, the one that wasn't criminal, just too horrifying to explain in court. Until now, you don't sleep that night, even with the door locked, even with him passed out on the couch. You don't sleep because your mind keeps circling back to the storage unit, Unit 305, a small steel door holding back everything you once buried. Truth has weight, and right now, it's sitting on your chest like a cinder block. At dawn, the man, Ronan's brother, makes coffee like he's lived here for years. You ask his name. He only says, call me whatever you want. You already rewrote my life once. No one speaks on the drive. You don't need to. The key is warm in your pocket, like it remembers. 2. When you reach the storage facility, the air turns heavy, almost sentient. The woman at the front desk looks up. That unit's been dormant for a decade. You nod. That's about how long I've been asleep. The walk down the corridor is a tunnel of ghosts. Each flickering fluorescent above hums like a warning. Finally, Unit 305. You kneel, slide the key into the lock. It sticks, then clicks. Inside a dusty top, boxes taped shut, a broken chair, an old cassette player with dried blood on the volume dial. The man doesn't wait. He rips open the first box. Photos, hundreds of children, adults, some bruised, some smiling, some with eyes scratched out in ink. He pulls one free. It's a classroom photo. Ronan's third grade class. Your eyes freeze on one girl in the corner. Hair like your sister's, Smile like your mother's. Caption on the back. In your handwriting. Transferred under witness protection. You drop the photo. Why was this hidden? He doesn't answer. He's already found something else. A notebook. Your name embossed in gold. He opens to the middle. Your handwriting. Erratic. Frenzied. Desperate. If I testify, they'll silence her. If I don't, he walks. I chose the lesser evil. I chose the silence. He stares at you now. Voice shaking. So you knew she was alive. You let him get custody again. You collapse against the wall. It wasn't him I protected. You whisper. It was the system. It couldn't take the truth. He opens another box, pulls out an envelope. Inside a cracked mirror. You don't understand until you do, because you see it now. Your reflection is fragmented, yes, but behind you, reflected in the shards, a door. You turn. At the back of the storage unit, hidden behind the boxes, is a second door. Metal, rusted, unmarked. You both stare. No key, just a sliding bolt. He reaches for it. You stop him. Don't. You say, but it's too late. The bolt groans open like a scream. The door swings, and behind it, a second room, windowless, walls lined with taped recordings. Every case you ever worked, labeled, numbered, color-coded, your voice on all of them. Confession, statement, redirect, and in the corner, a chair, strapped with leather cuffs, blood still dried on the legs, a child's shoe beneath it. Tiny, blue canvas, untied. You step back. What is this place? He doesn't answer, because now you do. You built this room, not literally, but piece by piece. Every time you erased a motive to save a name, every time you signed off on a redacted file, every time you traded one horror for the illusion of resolution, it wasn't about justice. It was about control. The phrase rings in your ears. It was never about the truth. It was about control. He turns to you. You say you wanted to protect him. You nod. Tears now. But the truth is, you protected the monster who broke all of us. And now, the evidence won't stop screaming. The shoe, the mirror, the chair, symbols, yes, but more than that, memories. You stagger outside, gasp for air, but the past follows you. You see the desk clerk calling someone. You see the cameras turning toward you. You see the man, the brother, walking away, alone, and you realize he never wanted revenge. He wanted release. Now it's your turn. You reach into your coat, pull out the notebook, flip to the last page. Blank, but not for long, because now it's your job to rewrite the truth, even if it destroys you. You walk out into the morning haze with that notebook clutched to your chest like it might anchor you to reality. The sun should feel warm. It doesn't, because all you see is what the cracked mirror showed you, the reflection of someone who forgot what side they were on. You drive, not sure where to go, not sure who to be, but your hands steer like they remember. They take you to the courthouse, a place that once smelled like fresh coffee and polished wood. Now it smells like regret. You walk inside. No badge, no nameplate, just ghosts. The security guard doesn't stop you. He recognizes you, or thinks he does. You find an empty courtroom, courtroom 7B, where you first testified against Ronan's uncle, where you swore under oath that you believed the victim. You take the judge's seat, sit behind the bench like you belong there, and that's when you pull out the notebook again, flip to a clean page, and start writing. All of it. The tapes, the storage room, the silenced victims, the case you closed that should have blown the department apart. You don't edit, don't soften, don't lie. You knew. but pretended you didn't. You write it in bold ink. Your hands shake as the truth pours out. And then, a knock. You freeze. It's not the bailiff, not a cop. It's her, Ronan's niece, the girl from the classroom photo, alive, grown, but her eyes are the same, too wide, too tired. You say her name. She doesn't answer right away. Instead, she pulls out something wrapped in a cloth, a child's drawing, crayon. The lines are crude, but unmistakable. A man, tall, looming, a chair, blood, and scrawled in the corner, in red, he said, "Don't tell." She looks at you like she's waited years to speak. "I found it in one of his books," she whispers. "It wasn't just me. He heard others." You knew. You nod. You don't try to deny it. You don't pretend anymore. "What now?" she asks. You open the drawer beneath the bench, pull out a recorder, place it gently on the desk between you. "Now," you say. You tell everything, and she does, her voice trembling, breaking, rebuilding. You record it all, not for evidence, not for trial, for truth. That's when you notice something strange. The courtroom door is ajar. A shadow stands behind it, not moving, watching. You rise, approach the door, but when you open it, nothing, just an empty hallway and the echo of your own footsteps. You return. She's gone. So is the drawing, but the tape is still rolling. You rewind it, hit play, and her voice crackles through. He said, "Don't tell." But I remember. He always had a tic. His left hand shook when he lied. And he lied. A lot. Tick. Left hand. You freeze. Because you've seen that before. Not just in the courtroom. In the department. In a man who testified in 3 of your biggest cases. Chief Investigator Holden. Your mentor. The one who first taught you that sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war. You remember his voice now. Soft, patient, manipulative. You did what was necessary. Some people aren't strong enough for the truth. But what if he was the one hiding it all along? You flip back through your notebook. All the redacted names, the closed cases. Many had one thing in common. Holden. You draw a circle around his name, and the page practically burns under your pen. Now it's not just guilt. It's motive. The real killer may be locked away, but the one who made him, the one who allowed it, might still be giving interviews on morning news shows. You pack the recorder, the notebook, and that shoe you took from the storage unit. You're not a detective anymore, not a lawyer, not a witness. You're something much more dangerous. You're someone with nothing left to lose. And as you leave the courtroom, the recorder still in your pocket, you whisper to yourself, it was never about justice. It was about control. You smile. Time to take it back. The recorder in your pocket feels heavier with each step, like it's absorbing gravity from every lie ever told under oath. You walk past the murals of justice, blinded women with scales, granite plaques etched with old verdicts. You don't believe in those stories anymore. Not since you saw what silence can bury. You step into your car and slide the recorder into the glove box. Next to it, you keep the child's drawing, folded neatly, a mirror of what your department claimed never existed. The glove box shuts with a quiet click, almost like sealing a coffin. Your destination isn't the police station. It's Holden's house. The man who once toasted your first closed case with cheap bourbon and words like honor and brotherhood. Words you now realize were weapons. You drive slowly, tension taut in your jaw. Each turn of the wheel is a reckoning. You park 2 blocks away and walk the rest. No badge, no warning, just the truth and a ticking clock in your chest. Holden lives in a manicured neighborhood with trimmed hedges and camera doorbells, but old school habits die hard. He's never relied on tech. Said paranoia is a survival skill. He wasn't wrong. You knock, no answer. But the blinds twitch. Then the door opens. He stands there older, softer, slower, but still sharp in the eyes, like a serpent sunbathing on a porch. You, he says, not surprised, not even curious, just mildly annoyed. You look tired. You nod. I am. You here to confess something. The words slice through you like dry laughter. You take a breath. I know what you covered up. He steps aside slowly, like he's been waiting for this. You enter. The house smells like books and bourbon, exactly like you remember. There's a framed photo of the two of you from your academy days. You want to smash it. Instead, you sit. He pours two glasses. You never could let sleeping dogs lie. You ignore the glass. I have recordings. You say, testimony from Ronan's niece, from the storage unit tapes. He leans forward, amused. You think that's enough? We've buried worse. You study him. His left hand twitches, just a bit. You knew. You say. He doesn't deny it. You made him. You let it happen. He takes a slow sip. He was useful. We were drowning in cases. We needed wins. He shrugs. So, we created one. By using victims as bait. By picking which ones mattered. That's when the ticking clock inside you hits 0. You slide the drawing across the table. He looks at it. And for the first time, something flickers in his face. Not guilt, he's incapable of that, but something darker. Memory. Ownership. She drew this, you say. She remembered your hand shaking. His smile thins. You always were sentimental. I'm recording this. Good. You think I care. I've got friends in every agency. You make this public, and I bury you. You reach for the recorder, but he's faster than he looks. He grabs it, hurls it against the wall, shatters it, but he's made a mistake. You brought a backup in your shoe. Old spy trick you picked up from a case. You stand, and for the first time, he looks uncertain. Game's changed. You tell him, your empire rotting from the inside. He chuckles, but it's dry now. No amusement. You don't have the stomach to finish this. You step closer. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. He doesn't flinch, but his left hand won't stop shaking. You leave the house, and behind you, the door closes like the end of a verdict. You sit in your car and retrieve the second recorder. Safe, untouched. But your phone buzzes. A message from a blocked number. Nice try. You've made enemies. And below it, a photo of your front door, taken just minutes ago. Your blood runs cold. Because now it's not just justice at stake. Now, they've made it personal. You don't go home that night. You drive with no destination, just motion. The streets blur under sodium lights. Your mind pacing faster than the tires. The photograph, your door burns a hole in your memory. More vivid than any surveillance footage you've ever reviewed. The timestamp on the text matched the moment you were sitting across from Holden. Someone else was watching. Someone closer than you thought. You park in a motor lot under a broken neon sign. A place that doesn't ask questions. Cash only. No ID. You sit in the car, gripping the steering wheel like it's the last thread tethering you to the known world. Inside the room, yellow walls, a humming mini fridge, and a mirror that feels 1 second away from cracking on its own. You pull the shades closed, place the recorder under your pillow, and draw your service weapon. Then you wait. You don't sleep. You listen to every floorboard creak, Every passing engine, every breath that isn't yours. At 3:47 a.m., there's a knock on the door. You don't answer. Second knock, softer. You check the peephole. No one. But taped to the glass is a single item, a black leather glove, familiar, worn at the knuckles, exactly like the one in the evidence locker of case number 1824, the Mallory killings. A case closed 5 years ago. You open the door slowly, no one in sight, just the glove and a memory that slams you in the chest like a bat. The glove was the only piece of evidence missing from that case, and it wasn't lost. It was removed by someone on the inside. You wrap it in a hand towel and place it on the nightstand next to your badge. It's not just a warning, it's a dare. You call Dani. She's the only one you trust now. A forensics analyst with a tendency to break rules and encrypt everything. She answers after 2 rings. I was waiting, she says. I ran voice match on that tape. It's Holden, no doubt. But there's something else. You wait. The background hum. It's not static. It's a clock, a mechanical one, like an old train station or courthouse timer. You blink. The ticking clock. It's always been there. On the tapes, on the phone call, in your own mind. What's it mean? Dani lowers her voice. I think they're timing something, not just hiding the truth. Counting down. The glove, the door photo, the ticking. You realize then, it's not just about what they did. It's about what they're about to do. And you're the only variable they didn't account for. You asked Dani to meet at your father's old cabin, remote, off-grid, a place no one alive should remember. You'll bring the glove, the recording, the drawing, all of it, before hanging up. She says one more thing. They didn't want you dead. Not yet. Why not? Because you're their distraction. While everyone watches you, no one watches them. You hang up, and the ticking in your head turns deafening. You pack what you need, leaving behind the motel key and a note if I disappear. Look in the cracks. Before you leave, you stare once more at the cracked motel mirror. You almost expect to see someone behind you, but it's only you now, and even that feels uncertain. You step into the darkness, because to uncover what they're timing, you'll have to stop running and start hunting. The cabin is buried 2 miles past, where the road ends deep in pine-thick country that smells of sap and silence. You haven't been here since your father died, and yet the path your tires follow seems rehearsed. Muscle memory etched in gravel. You keep your headlights off the last mile. When you finally reach it, the place looks untouched by time. Same peeling green shutters, same crooked chimney, same porch light you're sure has been broken for years, but now glows faintly. You don't remember turning it on. You kill the engine and sit for a moment, listening, waiting. A wind chime creaks in the dark. You scan the tree line. No birds, no footsteps, but that doesn't mean no one's watching. Inside, dust greets you like an old suspicion. The fireplace is empty, except for a stack of yellowed newspapers from 2003, your father's final year. You brush off the table, lay out the evidence, the glove, the door photo, the child's drawing, the recording device, your badge. It looks like a shrine to a truth no one once told. The ticking starts again. Not from your head this time, but from the wall. You follow it to a corner cabinet you barely remember. Behind it, just faint enough to be missed, a small keyhole. Brass, old. You'd need something thin to pick it. You try a paperclip. It clicks open with the weight of withheld memory. Inside is a cassette tape, unlabeled. Just ink scrawled across the bottom. Case 0. The door creaks behind you. You turn fast, gun drawn. Dani stands there, silhouetted by moonlight, her breath fogging in the cold. You were right, she says, holding up her phone. The ticking, it's counting down. To what? She sets the phone on the table. On screen is a timer app. It's paused at 0003. She hits play. It ticks once, twice, then resets. Over and over. A loop. Why, you ask? Eyes still on the numbers. She walks to the table, lays down a file. Thin. Government issue. Redacted into oblivion. Only one word legible on the front tab. Repeater. It's a protocol, she says. Internal. Post-incident cover-up. They don't erase events, they loop them. Replace one truth with another over time. Just enough people forget. Enough records get corrupted. And no one questions the pattern. You whisper it without thinking. It was never about the truth. It was about control. Dani nods. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You slot the Casio tape into the recorder. You press play. A voice garbled. Male, distorted by age whispers. If you found this, you already know. But what you don't know is what you're part of. This isn't a case. It's a reset. And every time someone gets too close, they restart the cycle. Wipe the board. Change the motive. Leave just enough behind to keep the game going. The voice hesitates. Then I tried to stop it, but they made me the killer. Click. Silence. You and Dani exchange a look heavy with implication. What if Holden wasn't protecting someone, you ask? What if he was trapped in the same loop? What if we all are? She replies. Suddenly, the porch light flickers, then dies. Outside stillness. Inside the ticking clock begins again. And this time, it doesn't loop. It starts counting down. 0010. 0. What is it? Timing you, whisper. Dani's voice cracks like dry leaves. I think it's timing you. A beat of silence passes. Then 3 knocks at the door. Not 2, not 4, 3. Just like before. But you didn't tell Dani about the glove, about the motel, about the knocks. Someone else is here, and they know you're listening. The knocks fade into the night like footsteps you can't trace quiet. Deliberate, daring you to open the door. You don't move. Neither does Dani. The countdown continues on her phone. 0, 32. Outside, the moon has vanished behind a curtain of moving clouds, and the porch light, once dead, flickers back to life. Only this time it pulses, like a warning beacon, not an invitation. You edge toward the door, gun raised, and flick the deadbolt. It's unlocked. You're certain you locked it when you came in. A chill tightens your chest. Dani moves to the far side of the room, behind the table, strewn with evidence. Her hand grips the file marked Repeater, knuckles pale. You swing open the door. Nothing, just fog curling across the porch. The steps below disappear into shadow, and on the doormat, something that wasn't there before. A single child's shoe, dirty, untied, the size of a 5-year-old's. You kneel slowly. Inside the shoe is a folded paper, the kind kids use to make secret notes. You unfold it. One word, handwritten in crayon. Again. You swallow, close the door, and bolt it twice this time. Where's the other shoe? Dani asks. You don't answer. You're not sure the question has an answer that matters. Instead, you go back to the recorder. The cassette sits still, inert, as if daring you to rewind. You do. But when you press play again, it's not the same voice. It's yours. You'll deny this later. Say it was stress, lack of sleep. But you'll remember you pressed play. You knew, and you kept going. The tape winds, skips, then she's lying. Not Danny, the girl, the one from the motel. She told you she saw him, but the photo, the one you missed, she's not looking at the killer. She's looking at you. Dani stares at the recorder. That's your voice. You nod, slowly. And now it's your turn to say what she's been thinking. What if I didn't solve the case? What if I covered it? The ticking on the phone grows louder. Not just time passing. It feels like a heartbeat. Like the walls themselves are exhaling the seconds. The glove on the table begins to shake barely, subtly, as if reacting to the tension in the room. Then the photo, the one from the motel door. You pick it up, look closely. It's changed. The girl's gaze is no longer ambiguous. She's staring dead at the camera, dead at you. The truth grips your spine like a hand from the past. You whisper, you knew, but pretended you didn't. And then the door creaks again. But this time, it's not the front. It's the attic. Danny's face drains of color. This place doesn't have an attic. You grab your flashlight, open the narrow hallway door. Stairs you've never seen descend into blackness. Not up, but down. How is that possible? Dani breathes. You answer with something that surprises even you. It was never about the truth. It was about control. As if those words summon it. A low hum rises from the hidden stairwell. Not mechanical, not electrical, biological. Like a memory breathing. You descend first. Each step creaks like a confession. Halfway down, you notice the walls are papered in evidence. Old files, redacted names, photos pinned at angles, as though whoever placed them wanted you confused, wanted your memory scrambled. At the bottom, a single metal chair facing a wall. On the wall, a mirror, cracked but not shattered. And in that mirror, you see yourself. Only, it's not quite you. Same coat, same badge, same face. But the eyes are blank, dead, like a memory that forgot how to blink. A symbol is etched into the mirror's lower frame. A circle, broken by a single vertical line. The symbol from Case 2. Dani whispers behind you. This is where they broke him. You don't ask who. You already know. The killer didn't choose his motive. It was assigned to him. And maybe you've been assigned one too. You stare at your own reflection or what's left of it. The eyes looking back at you. Don't blink. Don't flinch. They hold your gaze like they know what you're about to do before you do it. You back away from the cracked mirror slowly. The symbol beneath it, circle, interrupted by a single line, burns itself into your memory like a scar you didn't ask for but can't scrub out. Dani is silent behind you until she speaks in a voice that isn't hers. It's low, cold, precise. They told him to forget, but they didn't say how. You turn to her too fast. She blinks, confused, as if waking from a sleep she didn't know she was in. Did you say something? She asks. You shake your head, but your heart doesn't, because that wasn't the first time a voice you couldn't place said something true. You remember the case file from a year ago, unofficial, not even in the system, marked in red pen, do not pursue, victim male, 40s, suspect unknown, witness statement. He asked me what my motive was. I told him it was his. You thought it was nonsense then. Now it sounds like prophecy. You take the glove from the table, hold it up. There's something inside it. Not a hand, not a note. A key, old, brass, worn down like it's been used on something that resists being unlocked. Stamped on the shaft, B-pen, Danny reads over your shoulder. B7, like a file number? No, you murmur. Like a room. You dig through the pile of evidence until you find it, a floor plan, not of a building, of a facility, underground. Levels marked A through F. Level B, room 7. Redacted. No records, but next to it, the word observation. That's when you remember the photograph from section 4. The girl staring not at the killer, not at the victim, but just beyond the frame. At something behind glass. Your breath catches. She was in B7. You and Danny lock eyes. You were wrong about the killer's motive. You were wrong about the girl. You were wrong about the story. And someone wanted you to be. You flip the cassette tape over. Play side B. It starts with silence, then static, then a voice you never wanted to hear again. Your own. Room B7. I told you to seal it. I told you to burn the files. If this tape's playing, you didn't. That means I failed. And if I failed, long pause, then you have to finish it. Dani steps back, hand shaking. You recorded this. You nod once, barely, and you forgot. You laugh, bitter and hoarse. No, I made myself forget. Because the only thing worse than solving the case was understanding it. You turn to the mirror again. The reflection has changed. Now it's Danny staring back, but the symbol is on her forehead. Not etched, not drawn, branded. You spin around, but she looks the same. No mark, just fear, just questions, just trust that's fraying like an old photograph in the rain. What if I'm not Dani? She whispers. You don't answer, because maybe you're not you either. The clock on her phone resets. 0:10, 00. Another countdown. No alarm this time, just time, ticking, ticking, like it's waiting for you to choose what you already chose before. You slam the glove on the table and stare at the key inside it. The brass is cold against your skin. You don't remember putting that tape in the recorder. You don't remember saying those words, but it was your voice, your cadence, your guilt. If this tape's playing, then you have to finish it. You've heard those words before in nightmares, maybe, in dreams that ended with metal doors and blinking red lights. You hear Danny breathing behind you, too steady, too calm. What if she's waiting for you to forget again? You pocket the key and grab the map. B7. Observation. No access logs. No personal names. Just redacted corridors and the word sealed, not closed. Sealed. Which means someone wanted whatever was in there to stay buried. Too late. The mirror rattles again, though nothing touches it. You glance up, expecting your own reflection. Instead, you see a version of yourself that shouldn't exist, hair slightly longer, a scar under the left eye, eyes filled with regret. The you who remembered, the you who failed. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You blink, and the scar is gone. Just you, sweating, shaking. Dani touches your arm. What do we do now? We go to P7. Are you sure? No. But you're moving anyway. The elevator isn't listed on the floor plan because it isn't for everyone. You find the hidden control panel in the archives room, just like you left it before you erased that memory too. The panel lights up red, then green. It only accepts the key from the glove. The descent is slow, cold. The lights flicker, and for one moment, you see writing on the walls, only visible between the flickers. You promised. Do not look away. The motive lives humanities here. When the doors open, you step into silence, the kind that rings. Dust hangs like breath in the dark. Room B7 is at the end of a hallway where the air feels heavier. like each step adds weight to your bones. The door is marked with the same symbol from the mirror. You turn to Danny. You don't have to come in. She looks at you like she's been waiting to hear that. I do. You open the door. Inside, a chair, a camera mounted on a rusted swivel, an empty table with straps, slightly frayed. One wall is mirrored, no doubt a two-way window. The only thing left in the room is a photograph, curled at the edges, resting on the floor. You kneel, pick it up. It's the girl, same face, but this time she's holding something. Not a knife, not a key, a file, labeled Patient Zero. Subject, Danny. You look up slowly. She hasn't moved. You manage to say, "Why didn't you tell me?" She says, "Because you told me not to." And just like that, the camera clicks on. Recording. "Danny," you say, your voice cracking. "Who are you?" She steps forward. The mirrored wall lights up, revealing figures on the other side, watching, not moving. You, 10 of you, different variations, different regrets, each one with a slightly different scar, each one not looking away. Danny lifts her hand, and you see it, the symbol branded into her palm. "You wanted to understand," she says softly. "Now you will." And the lights go out. Darkness isn't silent. It's full of breathing. Yours, hers, theirs. You reach for your pocket. The key is gone. No footsteps. No sound of removal. Just gone. Something hums in the walls. Machinery voices. It's hard to tell anymore. You raise your hands blindly and shuffle forward. You don't know where Danny is now. You only hear your own pulse and something scratching faintly at the edge of your mind, like a memory trying to crawl back in. You reach the chair, still warm. The photograph is gone too, but in its place, something new. A folded slip of paper, taped under the armrest. You buried the motive here. Your hands shake as you unfold it further. We let you believe it was solved, but the reason it was never meant to be uncovered, because then you'd have to decide what to do with it. Your breath catches. You remember what the detective said the day the case closed. Motives irrelevant when the body's in the ground and the killer's behind bars. But the body wasn't in the ground. Not all of it. You slide your hand across the wall. It's padded now. Wasn't before. You hear murmurs leaking through, like dreams someone else is having on the other side. You whisper, "Dani." No answer. Just that mirror lighting back up. But this time, it shows something new. Not you. Not the other versions. It shows the footage. The girl, young, crying, and a man's voice. Your voice coaching her through a story. No one will believe you unless you make it real. You have to be convincing. This is how we protect you. You feel your stomach turn. The recording isn't surveillance. It's a rehearsal. You were preparing her for court, for the stand, for the lie. You sit hard in the chair as your own words keep playing. Say he came at you. Say the knife was already in his hand. Say you screamed. You can't breathe. Your voice coached her through a false testimony. The killer was real, but the motive fabricated by you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The glove, the tape, the key, all props in the narrative you designed. To protect who? The real question slithers in. Was she the killer, or were you just afraid of the truth she carried? The light flashes red. The door closes behind you. Footsteps now, real ones. You turn. Danny's face appears in the flickering light. No smile, no malice, just resolution. You wrote the motive, she says. You whisper. Why? Because the truth wouldn't have kept me safe. The two-way mirror brightens again. Every version of you is gone. Now it's just the girl, older, holding the file, watching you. You choke back the question that doesn't need asking. She knew. She always knew. And she's been waiting. The walls begin to hum, louder, not sound, vibration, activation. You have one more recording to make, Dani says. She places the recorder on the table, just like last time. The red light blinks. You feel the final piece slip into place. This was never a confession booth. It was an editing room where you revised the past to feel safe in the present. But the truth, it always leaks back in, especially through cracks you thought you sealed. You press play. The recorder begins its steady whir, low, mechanical, like a breathing machine for a story that refuses to die. Across from you, Dani doesn't blink. She's no longer waiting for answers. She's watching you make them up in real time, just like you always have. You can lie, she says, softly. But this time, you'll hear it back. You try to speak, but your throat catches on truth. It's heavier than guilt, sharper than remorse. What do you want me to say? That depends, she replies, on what you want to live with. You glance to the mirror. The girl behind the glass, the older version of Dani, writes something on a notepad. She doesn't look up. You realize the notepad isn't blank. It's your handwriting. Pages and pages of your version of the story. You knew. You pretended you didn't. But every word had your fingerprints. You crafted the motive, shaped it with care, stitched timelines together like a tailored coat to keep her warm and silent. A ticking clock sounds in the ceiling above. No one acknowledges it. Dani walks to the filing cabinet, opens a drawer, and removes something wrapped in linen. She lays it in front of you. It's a cassette tape, labeled, in faded marker, original statement, unsubmitted. You know what it is before she says a word. The raw confession from the victim, from the killer, from the girl you coached into fiction. She slides a small cassette player across the table. You reach toward it, but freeze, because you remember what she said when she was 12, after the first rehearsal. If I tell the real version, what happens to us? You'd said, nothing, but people won't understand. They'll call you broken. They'll make you repeat it, again and again, until even you don't believe it anymore. She believed you. You press play. The girl's voice comes through quieter, slower, uncertain, not the courtroom version. She talks about the real reason she snapped. Not rage, not fear, love, twisted, misused, manipulated love, the kind that hides under smiles, the kind that doesn't leave bruises, just rules. Your hands tremble because you realize you knew that motive wouldn't win a case. Too gray, too fragile, too human. So you made one that would. It was never about the truth. It was about control. Dani doesn't move. You look up. She killed him. You say, but I made her a victim because I couldn't live with the version where she wasn't. You pause. She survived. That should have been enough. But I needed her to be innocent. And now she asks. You look to the mirror. The older Dani nods once. You whisper. Now I understand why she'll never be. Silence. Then, slowly, Dani slides a fresh tape into the recorder. She presses record and waits. This time, the story begins with your voice. The girl behind the mirror fades from view. The ticking stops. But it never really ends. You speak, truthfully, finally, and as the red light blinks on, a soft rain begins to fall beyond the concrete walls. It doesn't wash anything away, but it promises growth where something broken once took root. You turn to her. One last time. What will you do with this? Dani shrugs. Depends who listens. Rain taps softly against the window now. No longer angry. No longer urgent. Just steady. Like the breath of a city exhaling after a long-held secret slips loose. Somewhere beyond the glass, the neon signs flicker, and the night keeps moving. Unaware that a story just came undone, you sit still in the dark, surrounded by silence, except for the slow rewind of tape and the echo of things never meant to be spoken. The weight of what was hidden is no longer crushing, but it's not gone either. Some truths, once spoken, don't bring relief. They bring recognition. You were part of it. Maybe not the act, but the architecture. Maybe not the lie, but the framing. And now that it's on record, you can't go back. But you're not sure you want to. Because sometimes the real horror isn't in the killer. It's in what made them. The missing photograph from Section 4. The cracked watch on the floor in Section 11. The coded note she slipped into your jacket pocket and you ignored until it was too late. None of them were random. They were the story begging to be noticed. You just didn't listen. Until now. You step into the hallway, lights low, shadows long. You don't check your phone. You don't check your pulse. You already know you're alive. What you're wondering is whether you still deserve to be. Down the hall, a figure walks away from you. You think it's her, but you don't call out. Not this time. Let her go. Let the story breathe without you controlling the air. Let it live, even if it lives in darkness. The case was closed, but you just opened everything. End of script. Sleep well and watch your back.